From BLC Studios in Mankato, Minnesota, this is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Duncan. With your host, Shane Frederick.
This is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Duncan. My name is Shane Frederick. I'm the host, and along with me today is Minnesota State senior goaltender and Hobie hat trick and Richter finalist, and we could go on and on and on, but then we would run out of time. Dryden McKay. Hi, Dryden. How are you?
Hey, Freddie. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're recording this on Thursday, a week before you guys play in Boston, and for your second consecutive Frozen Four. Congratulations and on all the awards and accolades, but most importantly, continuing your season onto the Frozen Four. What's this week been like for you?
It's been good. I think we learned a lot last year about how you want to appreciate it, but you don't want to over celebrate. You haven't really accomplished anything yet. You haven't won any trophies. It's just kind of extended your season, and now we're on our way back to the big dance, and just really excited and trying to rest up and also prepare for the Gophers as best we can.
What what is just the general feeling like? I mean, you kind of touched on it there, but just in terms of last year going for the first time as a group compared to this year, is that feeling kind of the business aspect of it compared to last year, where the excitement of being there for the first time? How does that kind of work with the team? Because you don't really want to overlook the fact that you're still you're in the Frozen Four.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year we maybe had a little bit of kind of happy to be there, and obviously it was a huge accomplishment getting that first win out of the way, and then shutting out the Gophers in the regional final. I think we kind of we're just kind of happy to make the Frozen Four, and we were excited to be there. And I think this year we're going there with more of the mindset that we're here to win, and this is our year.
For the second year in a row, Dryden McKay shuts out the opponent in the regional final to go to the Frozen Four. Last year, as you just mentioned, it was the Gophers, and I believe it was a 4-0 victory. And this year, it was Notre Dame in a 1-0 grind of a game. Let's talk about that game a little bit, because I did not make it to Albany, but watching on TV, it looked like there was not an inch of ice to give, whether it was the way your team defended, the way Notre Dame defended, and it seemed like the only time maybe there was a little bit of ice to give, Nathan Smith scores the only goal of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a grind. We kind of knew that going into the game, and even from watching Notre Dame and North Dakota the night before, we saw that they play a very similar to us, kind of like a Bemidji, just try to capitalize on your opportunities, and they're not going to give up much. So we knew it was going to be a low-scoring, tight-checking game going into it, and as we saw, it was kind of a bounce here and a bounce there that decided it.
Yeah, a lot of bounces. You guys kill off 3 penalties. There was a couple scrambles in front of you, a shot that looked like you got a piece of that goes off the post and then goes behind you. Yep. I think that's the play probably they've seen some replays that they've seen the most. I've watched you play for 4 years. I know your calm demeanor. I'm still stunned by it, to see a play like that. There's no flopping around. Maybe you did a little bit there, yeah. but you just talk about that play a little bit. And now that you're a week away, almost a week removed from it, what that was like in that moment, because the stakes are so much higher, the pressure of the game is so much more in a 1-goal game. Have you watched that on film, and what was kind of thoughts of it?
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of one of those plays. Happens every once in a while where, as a goalie, it's the worst feeling when you don't know where the puck is. And yeah, it bounced over my defense and over my pad, hit the post, and then from there, you're kind of flopping, and you're just trying to make sure that you take up as much space without hopefully knocking the puck into the net. Andy Carroll made a great play. It looked like, I had to watch the replay about 5 times to figure out where the puck went, but hit the post. I think it hit my back, and then I think Carroll kind of got behind me and pushed it back out through my legs, which was huge because nobody really knew where the puck was, and we were able to get to it first.
Amazing, and that just maybe goes to show the teamwork and effort on your whole team, not just your defensive core, but your whole team in the way that they play. Did you feel like there was extra effort given in that game at that point compared to other games when they've been so good in front of you all season?
Yeah, for sure. I think once you kind of get to the third period, and then third period starts winding down, and you realize that, all right, we might have to win this 1-0. I think everybody bought in and just kept it simple. We knew that if we didn't give them opportunities, they wouldn't have many. So we were able to be strong at the blue line, and then once again our 6-on-5 defense was really good. And I think that was just kind of the story of both games for us, was that 6-on-5 at the end and being able to stay calm when it's kind of crazy there at the end.
Not that you expected the first game against Harvard to have a 6-on-5 situation when you guys were up 3-0, but obviously that game turned a little bit, which can happen in the NCAA tournament, and turned on a weird goal, right? If you could jump a little higher in your goalie pads, maybe exactly. They don't score there. But I know it. How much jumping do you do with your goalie pads on in practice?
Not enough. Yeah.
What's amazing about that play is you kind of saw the whole thing develop where you felt the need to jump, and just where did that puck hit you?
Yeah, I mean, in a play like that, I think it was going to hit me and go in either way. I was just hoping that he shot it on the ice and I could jump over and have it hopefully go out the other side, but got it up enough where I think it hit like my skate or my skate blade, and at that point you're kind of at the perfect angle as a kind of a backboard to just bank it in.
Yeah, and it's if you missed it, that was Harvard's first goal against the Mavericks. Started a little bit of a comeback on their part where they made it a 1-goal game. Puck behind the goal line, and often as you see more and more now, guys kind of just try to throw it on the back of a goaltender or off a D or somebody, or just get it out front, and got a little air underneath the puck, and Dryden jumped and proved that his basketball skills are not there. So.
Yeah, they never were.
Of course, you're wearing how many pounds of goalie gear, right? But obviously held on, made some big saves in that game as well, and just turned that, made sure that you guys won that first game and held on. And I know people brought up the Providence game from your freshman year, and is there a different feeling, when you get in the NCAA tournament, you're playing these teams where momentum ends up being so important, whether you go back to that loss at Providence where you're up 3-0 and end up losing that game 6-3. Here's a game, so you go back to last year against Quinnipiac where you're down and you come back and you win in overtime. I mean, hard to get that momentum, hard to keep it, hard to get it back from the other team, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a really mature team. We've still got some guys from that Providence game, like you said, but I don't really think we panicked. I thought, I think right after they got the second goal, we hit the post like 10 seconds later, and we kind of turned it right back on them. And then I think, Pavel scored within the first 10 minutes of the third period, right. And I think if we weren't already kind of calmed down by then, that goal really settled us down and got us that 2-goal lead back, which was huge, and we were able to make it stand up.
It's interesting. There's always somebody, it seems, the last few years who've taken a big step on the big stage. I think Ryan Sandlin probably falls into that last year, and now you're seeing Andre Pavel do that this year, right?
Yeah, really happy to see Pavel. I mean, he's one of the hardest working guys, and like guys before him, he was in a tough spot last year as far as numbers and the way the lines were with centers and everything. So he worked his butt off last year, never complained, never was a negative influence on the team, and he kind of waited his turn, and now you're seeing kind of the benefits of that.
So as I mentioned, today is Thursday. The Hobie hat trick was announced today, and for the second year in a row, Dryden McKay is among the top 3 finalists for the Hobie Baker Award, which goes to college hockey's most outstanding player. He's a finalist for the Richter Award, which goes to the most outstanding goaltender in men's Division I college hockey. And this comes on the heels of a lot of CCHA awards. But what was that like today to find out that you're back in the mix for the Hobie hat trick?
Yeah, it was really cool. Coach Hastings called me this morning. I think it was about 20 minutes before it got released, and kind of told me, and I was pretty shocked, to be honest. I looked at the field this year, and I didn't really think I was going to be top 3, but the people in charge of the voting, I guess, decided I was, and it's a huge honor. There's so many good players in college, and it's really cool to be up there. But at the end of the day, I just got to control what I can control, and that's how I play on Thursday.
Yeah, those awards. I mean, is that it seems like, obviously people have talked about your game, compared it to other goaltenders, compared it to, there's always discussions about, because there is a Richter Award, should goaltenders be up for the Hobie, that sort of thing. Very similar to the Cy Young / MVP situation in Major League Baseball, where I'm sure there are voters who say they already have their own award, but I won't ask you necessarily about where you fit into all of that compared to other players and stuff, but let's just talk about you as a goaltender and goaltenders in general, and where they fit in, because it is such a different position, maybe because even I think in baseball, especially in the National League, the pitchers still hit. So goaltending is a different position. So what do you think when people say, like, should a goalie be considered a quote unquote player?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see both sides, especially going through it last year and this year too. Everybody has their opinion. I've learned that for sure, but I think it depends. I mean, I think the goalie is, in my opinion, the most important player on the team. I think any team, any level, I think your goalie has to be your most important player. But I also think I understand the view of goalies have their own award, let the Hobie Baker be for the players, which I understand. But yeah, I mean, there's two sides to it. Everybody's got their opinion, for better or worse. And I'm a goalie, so I'm going to have to side with the goalies deserve it too. But I'm glad I'm not the one making the decisions on those.
Well, full disclosure, I am a Hobie Baker voter. I have been for 3 years. This is my last year on this term, so I can say with all sincerity that it was a very difficult decision to try to narrow that down. I don't think I'm giving too much away, but we get it gets narrowed to 10, and then it goes to the committee, and we have to put 5 down on our sheet, and it was difficult. It was a very difficult spot to consider everybody, because I think this year it was very close, and it didn't matter if it was goalie, skater, forward, defenseman. It was just a very, very, very strong field, I think, which I think one more than anything just bodes well for college hockey. And as a former sports writer who's doing podcasts and still follows the sport very well, there's always room for a lot of debate in this, whether it's, again, the goalie skater situation, how many, when it gets to the goalies, about the shots you face, the team you're on, how important you are compared to overall team, whatever it might be. Ultimately, I think that's kind of good for the game. I mean, it probably causes some strife, but I see some people online kind of making some of the same arguments for their guy that maybe people were making for you a year ago. So
yeah, I know. I mean, you could have made an argument for all 10 of those guys. Like you said, the parity in college hockey, I think, is at an all-time high with, not really a clear winner this year. And I'm glad I didn't have to pick 5 off that list either, because that would have been impossible. So yeah, just a lot of really good goalies, a lot of really good players, and just kind of shows the strength of college hockey, especially with all these guys, making the jump to the NHL. I think, just shows how valuable college hockey is in the hockey community. And
I would be remiss not to say that your teammate Nathan Smith was in the top 10 as well for the Hobie Baker. Certainly a pretty cool moment to share with him when you have a list of people who think, written by people who think that this is the 10 best players in college hockey, and you got 2 Minnesota State players on it. Yeah.
I mean, Nathan he's had a great career for us so far, and he's gonna have a really long career after us. So definitely happy he's on my team. I think he's probably the most dynamic and complete player I've ever played with, as far as offense, defense, physical play, shot, his passing. I think he can kind of do it all, and he had a great season and was even able to represent our team and our country at the Olympics, which is something special. And yeah, he's just a special player, and he's a big game player, most importantly, with some of the goals that he's scored. So hopefully he can carry that over into Thursday against the Gophers.
Speaking of Thursday, you're in preparation for that, but going to the Frozen Four also comes with a lot of you got TV and you got travel and you have the other things that go along with the whole thing. How has preparation gone so far? Maybe this is probably good where you have a week off in between. Not everybody likes that between the regional and the Frozen Four because the sport maybe loses a little bit of momentum, but I'm sure for you guys it probably helps you reset a little bit with considering all the craziness that goes on around these games.
Yeah, I agree. I think, with how taxing those games are with, the high intensity and the higher stakes, it's definitely taxing mentally and physically. And having this week off, especially with our travel home, it was a long day, that travel ride home. And, the Gophers played Sunday, so I'm assuming they had a equally long travel home. So I think it's good to give the teams, that one weekend off to kind of reset physically and mentally and kind of settle down before you have to, ramp it back up even more.
When, looking at Minnesota, the last time you guys played them was in the regional final a year ago to go to the Frozen Four, and now you get them in the national semifinal. What do you think of that matchup, and how you guys think you fare against them or match up against them?
Yeah, it's going to be another good game. They've got a lot of high-flying, really good dynamic offensive players, but I think we saw last week they've had some grit to their game, and they're willing to, block shots and, play ugly if they have to. So, and they've got really good D and a really good goalie. So we think it's a good matchup. We think we match up well with them, and I think, it's going to be about which team is able to stick to their game longer, and we feel that if we come out and play our game, we'll be in a good spot.
It's interesting. You guys are, just to get there back to back is difficult, and you certainly see that by the teams that are there. You guys are the only repeat team there. You knocked out Minnesota last year. You got Michigan and Denver in the other bracket. But all the teams that were in it last year made the NCAA tournament, and the others didn't survive the two games. So, when I think based on the season you guys had, it was easy to maybe try to pencil you into the Frozen Four, but how difficult is it? How, you look at those games, and being in a one and done situation and going through that even as a freshman and knowing what this program had done previously, where the one and done it had been so difficult for so many NCAA tournament games. What is that like? What is that pressure like? What is that and how do you try to maintain the focus? Is it trying to call it just one other game when it's really not?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just kind of have to something I kind of learned our freshman year. You kind of just have to focus on the game. If you get caught up in all the bells and whistles and all the noise and the media stuff that kind of keeps coming this time of year, I think you'll kind of make the game more than what it is. And it's just a hockey game. It's what we've done the whole year. And I think at this time of the year, there's, like I said, there's lots more that comes with it, and sometimes it can kind of feel like it's all just kind of on your shoulders, and you have to come up with this crazy performance and do something special. But really, we just kind of have to do what we've done all year, and everybody has their role. Everybody knows how to win. Everybody knows what it takes to be at their best, and that's all we have to do. We don't have to do anything special. We don't have to go above and beyond. And if you can kind of just keep the game as what it is, as a game of hockey, I think that helps a lot.
And obviously, you have a veteran group with a lot of players who had been here before and been through it. It seems like it's pretty easy for you guys to put yourself in a position to approach it that way. No one's really looking at these games really as wide-eyed as maybe you would have last year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be different than last year for sure with, hopefully a sold-out arena and that type of thing. We'll get more of the full experience, which was a goal of ours kind of coming into the years. We made the Frozen Four last year, but we really wanted to get the full experience because we were in that lockdown bubble, and it was, different stresses with COVID and stuff. So I think being able to come back and experience it at the fullest will be, it'll be familiar, but it'll also be new at the same time. And we're just really looking forward to it.
Kind of interesting for you in your career where you go from losing in the first round to having your season wiped out because of COVID to playing in the bubble, getting kind of those goals but not experiencing it, and now here you are, gonna get the full experience. It's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. We're looking forward to it. We can't wait to get to Boston. Boston's a great city, and hopefully we'll get to check it out a little bit. And, TD Garden's a very, very famous, very, I don't know what the word is, but it's got a lot of history in it, and it's going to be really cool to step on that ice.
Oh, that'll be a lot of fun, and it's a great college hockey town. I'm sure they're not thrilled that there's no Massachusetts teams there. It's all Western teams there, but that's I'm sure that's fine for you guys. So, and usually even with that at the Frozen Four, and I've been to a few over the years, doesn't really matter who's in it. The crowds come out. If there's any saving grace to the regionals not having big crowds, it's that the Frozen Four is usually a pretty good destination, vacation, whatever you want to call it, for college hockey fans in general, and it's a pretty special event. Yeah,
it's gonna be really cool. I don't think I've ever played against as many fans or played in front of as many fans as we're gonna see Thursday. So that's gonna be a really, really awesome experience. And but like I said before, you kind of have to just not get caught up in that and just focus on the game. And it's a spectacle for college hockey for sure, with how it's a big event, and I think that's really cool. But we just got to focus on the game at hand and the task at hand.
Well, enjoy the experience. Best of luck to you and to the Mavericks against Minnesota and the Frozen Four, and good luck in the for the Richter and Hobie Awards coming up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Freddie.
Absolutely. Hey, that's Dryden McKay, and you can't not just say the full name, Dryden McKay. You can't just call him Dryden or McKay. It's Dryden McKay, all one word. I'm Shane Frederick. This has been the Maverick Hockey Live podcast presented by Duncan. We'll see you next time.